All right, so our next step is going to be putting in place at least one motor with some gears. So I'm just going to try to focus on one side of the drive at a time, and we'll go to insert, and we're going to need to find a motor, search a motor, and we'll go down to two-wire motor with the IME. That's about as close to the one we currently have. And then we're going to get a gear. Wait for those to come into place, and here's some gears. And I'm not sure if I'm going to go with a 60 tooth or a 84. So I'm going to get it a 60 low strength, and I'll also get a 84 low strength. And the last thing I want to get is an axle. Axle. I believe there's a 4-inch axle. Should give me more than enough. I'll hit that. And now we'll hit the green check, and we have the pieces we need. I'm just going to spread them out a little bit so I can make sure I can see them all.
All right, so I'm going to want to have the motor attached here with the shaft and this big gear on it. So the first thing I'm going to do is attach the motor to about the central location on that C-channel. So we can see it's 5. A way to kind of quick count is these little notches. Every notch is 5 squares. So 5, 10, 15, 20, what do we say, so 25, so it'll be 12 and a half. So at about, here's 12. So somewhere right in there is the attachment point. So what I'm going to do is think about my motor, and I know I want the shaft to go through there into the motor. So I actually want the motor to be attached to these 2 squares or the other 2. So I'm going to hit fasten, and I'm just going to start with the square right here. It was just off center. And then I'm going to go find that motor and grab that screw hole on it, which is right here next to the shaft. Sorry about that. And it's on the wrong side, so we'll flip the primary, and then we're going to rotate it. I'll hit the green check. You can see it better. And then the next part about this is we're going to take a shaft and run it through and revolute mate it to the motor. So we'll take that axle or shaft, just bring it into a place we can see it. We'll hit revolute mate, and I'm going to zoom on in and select it and jump to the motor. I want to revolute mate it inside the motor. I'm going to take a step back for a second because this piece is in my way, so I'm going to hide it. And this piece is actually in my way too, and I'm also going to hide it. And now I get access to the motor really easily. So let's try that again. Revolute mate, we could do the motor first this time. And we'll just get inside the motor and find a center point there. That's good. And then we'll pick the shaft. And see what's going on. Now it's going into the motor, so I'm going to flip the primary axis. That looks good. We could play it just to make sure it's spinning. Now it's spinning the motor, which means we're going to have to fix the motor in place, so that doesn't happen. But we'll hit the green check for now, and we'll unhide these pieces. And I'm going to now that it's attached to that, and this, let's see if that animate works. Yeah, that's good. It's spinning the axle because the motor is attached to the C-channel, which is attached to something else that's fixed in place. So we didn't have to actually fix the motor. All right, good. So now that's there. Next, I'm going to hide this one more time, and I'm going to add this gear to it. So we're going to fasten the gear to the shaft. And I'll just put it right on the end of the shaft. That's typically what I do. And then I offset it to where I want it to go. So that's on there. And to see what I'm doing better, we're going to unhide this. And I want this to be closer in. So let's see, that's a Z. I'm going to offset it along the Z and I think a negative way. So maybe minus an inch, minus 2 inches. Minus 2 inches looks pretty good. We need room for the wheel too. Let's go minus 2.2. It's 2.2 inches. And we may have to move it a little bit more, but it looks like there'll be enough room for the wheel, but just to be certain, let's go 2.4. I like that. So minus 2.4, I get the first one in there. That's going to revolve. And what I want to do next is just take the shaft, make my life easy. And again, I can use that shift button, hit the shaft, hit the gear. And I'm going to right click and copy 2 items. And then I'm going to paste the 2 items. So it's already in there at the right place. And now I'm going to revolute mate this shaft to the frame as well. There won't be another motor there, so I'm just going to pick the end of the shaft. And in my case, I'm going to want to revolute mate it to one of these holes in here. Let's think about this for a second. We've got 1, 2, I call that 3 over. So if I'm looking at this, it's like 1, 2, 3. I think it's the 4th one over. I need to put this on. And we'll hit solve and see what that looks like if the gears are meshing up. Probably not. I'm going to need to offset. Actually, it looks like I got the hole in the right spot. I just need to offset that last revolute mate a bit. So I'm going to open that back up a little bit, and I'm actually going to just offset that. It looks like about a 1/4 inch. And of course, I can't see it yet. Let's hit solve. It'll show you what it looks like. Not there yet. So maybe that's almost a 1/2 inch. Oh, that's in check here. Oh, almost there. Maybe 0.55. Let's call 0.6. Solve that. Oh, looks perfect. All right, check. Boom. And we're making sure the gears aren't going to bump into our frame at all, and that's looking good. So I think I still have, the last copy I did was, yes, 2 items. So if I want to paste those, I'll get another shaft and gear setup. And that one we're also going to revolute mate. And we'll do it on this end again. And this time we want to go 4 over from here about, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it's that one. There it is. And looks pretty good. Let's hit solve to see what that looks like. That's going to be lined up. And we're just going to offset it on the Z. And I forget exactly what that was, but I think it's 0.6 inches. Solve that. Perfect. And we're good. So now we've got all our gears in place. And we have our 3 revolute mates. And before we go any further, it might be a good idea to now add a gear relation between these. So we'll do that next. I'm going to go up here and hit the gear relation button. And I'm going to put a gear relation between revolute 1 and revolute 2. Do like that. And then I'm going to put another gear relation in between, there's a lot of ways to do this, but I'll just say revolute 2 and revolute 3. And those actually should be spinning in the same direction, so I'm going to hit reverse. And I'm going to test it and see if everything's working. This gear and this gear are spinning in the same direction, which is what they're doing, and that means it's working properly. Okay, so we'll stop that. And I'm just about there. The last thing I want to do is put a wheel on this and a wheel on that. And here's where I'm going to find out that maybe I didn't leave enough room for myself. Well, let's take a look. We'll go insert, and we'll put wheel. And then there's a way around this. I'm going to go with the standard 4-inch wheel. And if it's not good, then I might go with a 3.25-inch wheel. But let's try this. It's going to insert it. All right, still waiting here for add green check it. And the wheel coming in 2 different parts. So first thing I'm going to do is fasten the parts together. So I'm just going to do a hard fasten, and I'm going to pick an edge in here like this and just match it up to anything inside of here like that. And that should put the wheel together for me, which it does. And now we're going to attach the wheel to this shaft or to this one with a fasten. And just go out to the edge, grab the end, and grab the wheel. That's good. Go to the outside. And the wheel was a tricky fasten, I have to admit. And come over here, and we'll get this. And now the wheel is on there. Notice just the inside of the wheel came, but if you hit solve, you can see what the whole wheel will look like on there. And we are having some issues. Look at this. We're bumping up into the back. About 2 inches. That's too far. How about 1.5 inches? That looks great. And solve it. And it looks like the wheel might just make it. There might be just a little gap there. So I'm going to keep it. Looks all right to me. Now, we'll hit solve on that. We're going to get another wheel combo. So if we shift, click this, and click the internal area, not just that, we want the whole thing. Then I got both parts. Copy. And we'll paste it over here. And then we'll attach this one. See if I learned my lesson with fastening this wheel. It seems like if you hover it out here, you get a good point like that. And then you come back in and you hit this wheel, attach it, and solve it. And then we're going to offset it on that z-axis again. In this case, I think it was 1.5 inches. Something like that. Looks good. So, and let's hit the check. All right. So now we've got the side of the chassis prepared. And if we animate one of these mates, just go 100 steps and hit it. So we got to see our wheels are spinning in the right direction. And we have one motor powering each side, or one side of our chassis. And we'd want to just replicate and put this on the other side. And they're not all spinning in the same direction right now, but they are all spinning, so that's a good sign. And that gets you to a chassis now with wheels and motors and power. And a clever way to use two motors to power 4 wheels.